Hello, all the primary school moms and dads, those of the dads that also help with the homework. I had a question from a mom the other day of a primary kid. I just want you to read some. I just wanted to quickly read you some of this. She said, "I'm really hoping you could assist me with some information or advice regarding my 9-year-old son in grade 4. He seems to be performing very badly in maths since this year, and I want to know, is there any way that I can make maths learning easy and fun, or is there any method that I can use to teach him?" All right, so this is a question that I had from a concerned parent, and I decided to make this video because I think there might be quite a few of you actually struggling with exactly that. Maths can be a little straining on the mind and tedious. Um, and especially if they have hours and hours of homework every day, and suddenly you had a child who always performed well in maths and suddenly the marks are dropping. This could be because there's some problem with the teacher, not problem with the teacher, but the child and the teacher don't get along well. Or it might be that the child is having some trouble from other kids in the class, or it might be that he just realizes in himself, I think maths is boring, and he just loses interest. Or this is too complicated and I can't get it, or he gets discouraged by one test that he gets bad marks in. There's various reasons why a child can suddenly just seems uninterested in maths. um, Personal problems, varying from personal problems really to academic problems to self-esteem problems. There might be various things affecting this. But what I want to talk about is to really try and get your child involved in math and really try and get him excited about math. And the focus that I want you to have, or the focus that I think you should have, is not really to focus on the child must get 90% or the child must get 80% for his maths. I think if the child suddenly seems worried or seems distressed or seems um, uninterested in certain subjects, specifically math, um, don't worry too much about what he's doing in school, or how his school marks are looking. First, just try and outside of the school context, try and get him involved, try and get him excited. And usually, if you can change his concept is about his maths, and making him excited about that, usually the problems that you have at school, or the loss of interest he has at school, will fix itself over time. Right, so when you start with a child that has that suddenly dropping of marks, or you help your child with homework every day, the first thing um, the first thing I want you to try and do really is try and verbally encourage the child, by all means. When you let him do something, even if he doesn't do it 100% correct, doesn't matter. Try and really get the idea in the child's head that he can do this, that he is smart enough for maths. A lot of children do badly because they really believe they can't. They really start developing this concept, I'm just not a math person. Um, just try and get the idea in the child's head that he is a maths person. Most kids really are capable of doing maths. Actually, all kids are capable of doing maths, as long as they just have that self-esteem and that self-encouragement, and they believe themselves they can. So try and just reinforce the idea that I can do this. When you're at the at a restaurant and you want to, for instance, order a pizza and you're 6 people and there's eight slices per pizza, let the child quickly calculate in his head. Say, oh, I think you should quickly just think how many pizzas we should get so that everyone has at least 3 slices. Because you're such a mathematical little brain. Really try and reinforce the idea that he can do it and try and motivate him to do normal day calculations everywhere you see the opportunity. If he goes to the shop and you bought 2 things, let him calculate, oh, what is this going to cost? I just want to know if I have enough money, and you are so smart. Um, I'm struggling to add this up. Can you maybe do this? Really try and verbally encourage the child. This is important. Right. So that's something. And then also try and lead by example. Whenever you work with your primary school child, especially, and helping him with homework, him or her with homework, and working with him, playing a game, whether it's playing a game or doing real serious homework, they tend, primary school kids really tend to copy our behavior. So try and just um, carry over the idea that you are really positive about maths, that you really like this, that you're excited to help him with the homework. I know at the end of the day we're tired and we still have to help the kids with homework and we still have to cook and all of the things. Um, I know, but really just try and get that mindset, because without us realizing it, they copy our behavior. So really, whenever you work with a kid with his homework, really try and come across as you're excited, you like this, you really enjoy the time you spend doing homework. You're so glad we're going to get to do a little bit of maths today now, because maths homework is good. It makes us practice. It makes us smarter. A little bit of math every day keeps your brain fit, and I'm so glad I actually get the opportunity to work with you with maths, because otherwise my brain gets stiff. My brain gets tired, things like that. So really try and come across as positive about academic work yourself when working with the kids. Um, and then for academic reasons, set some goals. It's I always say to my kids, you're not gonna reach a goal if you don't know what it is. Or like basketball and netball and even rugby with the kicking. If they don't have a goal post, they're not gonna get a goal. They need a goal post there, and then the goalie or the kicker or whoever in what sport really needs to look at that goal to then throw the ball or kick the ball through that goal. They really need something that they can look at, something achievable. Um, if you don't have a goal, what's the point of playing the game? So if they don't have an academic goal, I'm aiming in maths for 65%. I'm aiming in science for 85%. I'm aiming in English home language for 75%. Set goals. If they don't know what their goals are, they're never going to reach any goals. So they need the goals, and then push them with the goals. Use the goals to push them a little bit. If they currently get 40, be realistic. Don't make the goal 80. If they currently get 40 for a subject, make the goal 45. If they currently get 50, make the goal 54 or 55. Something achievable, be realistic, but set a goal to push him up. And once you get to 70, 80, you really have to just make the goal a little bit higher every single time. So from 80, you can't really push him to 85. You have to push him from 80 to 81 to 82 to 83. And once they achieve the goal, set the goal higher and make a new goal. But be realistic. All right. And then another important thing also links with the encouragements and goal setting. If they move up now with the goals and then they get a test and something bad happens, or their concentration relapsed or something, and they actually went up quite nicely and they drop again, don't get mad. Don't let them be demotivated. If the marks drop, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're going to use tests not really to evaluate our self-worth, but to evaluate is the areas where we can work on, what are the areas that we can work on, things like that. So if I drop, that's absolutely fine. Something happened. Let's go see what happened and we see if we can't sort this out. Or let's see, why didn't I achieve my goal? What can I change to achieve my goal in the future? But really try and have a positive outcome, whether they move up or whether they move down. And I know this is hard, but always try and keep a encouragement atmosphere and a positive atmosphere, whether they move up or down. It's really not the end of the world if they drop with a test. If they always get 75, 75, 75, and now suddenly they get 20 or they get 40, yeah, that's something to worry about, and there's something you need to investigate. But if your aim was to get 75 and suddenly you get 72, really not the end of the world. Doesn't matter. We're just going to lift it up. Especially in today's school system, sometimes they test knowledge, sometimes they test understanding, with different things, with projects, with tests, with exams. The focus sometimes shifts a little bit on the type of skills that we evaluate and assess during tests. So please don't be too worried if the marks go up and down a little bit, as long as it stays within a 5 to 6% margin of difference, as long as it doesn't go really much more than that 5 to 6, like a 10% drop, that will get me worried, or a 20% drop that will get me really worried. But if it drops with 6% and then comes up with 3% and drops with 2%, it's absolutely normal. It's nothing to worry about. All right. Okay, so then with tests, really have this view on tests that it doesn't really give you, don't let tests and the marks from tests brand the kid, this is what you're worth, and really try to get him to also think like this. A test is a tool that we use to evaluate and give you feedback to see where you're at. And 50% for a test just means that, okay, from the beginning of the year up until where you've gone now, you're fine with 50% of the work, and there's still 50% of stuff that you need to work on. Or 70% means you're fine with 70% of the work, 30% of the work still needs a little bit more practice or a little bit more attention. So really try and see a test not as a good or a bad thing on your name, but see a test as a tool that you use to evaluate where you're at. What do I know? What don't I know? Where is my misconcepts? If you look at the feedback from the test, you see, oh, question 1 went south completely. I can see what was question 1 about. Okay, something in this part of the work is still not right, and you go back to that part. So that is really what I want you to do. And now you must see tests, and please don't brand your kid on what they get for a test, and please don't let them feel bad if they do bad in a test. Just help them realize that a test just helps them to identify what they know and what they don't know. And if there's still something that they don't know, they have time to prepare that and fix the things they don't know before the final year exam comes by. All right, now for primary school kids, I've found that working with competitions and typical brain teasers and problem solving, these are things that really gets them excited about math. A kid that really um, has a true hate for math or has a true negative attitude towards math, something good is leave the if he's really negative about maths in school, leave the schoolwork. Don't worry about it just for a while and just do some little competitions with him. For instance, just have a look in his book if they are currently doing multiplications or they're doing fractions or they're doing long division. If you have kids that's brothers and sisters more or less the same age, write the same 4 questions down for them and let them race. See who gets there first, who gets first the 4 correct answers. So do little competitions, give them some problems to solve, some typical problems. I'm going to show you now some games and things that you can also tools that you can use, but do competitions and things where they just do mathematical calculations or they must solve problems without even bothering. If the child is really negative about maths, don't even bother about asking him about his homework or what did you do in class today. Don't bother about that. Just spend some time every single day playing some mathematical game, and you'll see most of them will usually get so hooked on the games and start loving maths in such a way that they will start working on their own in the class and on their homework and things like that, and come asking in a few short weeks they'll come ask you, we did this and this and this in class today. Can you please help me explain what's going on here? Or please just help me with these problems. The idea is if they are really negative about maths, just get them excited about the subject. Don't even bother about what they are doing in school now. And if they are excited, then you can start moving towards school. But again, if the kid pushes back, just leave it. Really, if you can develop the skills necessary by playing games, all of that. If he's really not that negative, you just want to make it a little bit more fun for him, you can really use these things together with his homework book. And now we're doing these problems for homework and use some tools and do it in a playful way or try and make it just a bit more fun. And you can really be creative with this. I just thought up a few typical games, and I just really took some stuff that I had lying around in the house anyways. So it's not even necessary to go and go and buy stuff. Really, be creative. Use whatever you have at home. If you want, you can. There's fantastic mathematical type board games and puzzles that you can do online and things like that. So you can really go if you want and go buy a board game. I have this one board game, but I forgot its name now. Matix. I have this board game Matix. I think it's just one T like that. It might be 2 T's, I'm not sure. Which is a typical mathematical board game. It's really fun. It's quite nerdy actually, but with it being nerdy, it's quite fun. So you can go and buy them board games, but really not necessary. You can really just play with stuff from the house also, or coins, or this is Dumboard. I'm not sure what you call it, but you play it on a chessboard. This is that chips from that game. This is Chinese checkers chips. I've got the Jenga kit here. I've got some playing cards. I've got a little ball from a ping pong table or something. So whatever you can find in the house, and if you don't have this stuff, really replace it with anything you can find. You can use lollipops, you can use different colored pens, whatever. Legos are great to play with, things like that. Really just be creative and play around, but I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to come to the ideas now. Last thing here on this chart, you can also Google Transum, Transum, Transum starter of the day. If you Google this, the first suggestion that Google throws out is, I think, I'm not sure of the URL, but it's transum.org/starter of the day, something like that. If you click on that, they throw out a little calendar, and then you can click on any day. So click on today, click on yesterday, click on tomorrow. There's like for now they will have a March calendar because it's March now. And for every they have a calendar, and you can move forward and backward. But for every single day, if you click on that day, they have one mathematical problem which takes about 5 to 10 minutes typically to solve. And there's usually really interesting problems that you can, little challenges that you can solve. And you don't really need to be a specific age or a specific mathematical grade yet. You can just solve that by using logic, really. Yeah, so there's something, but also Google math puzzle, math game. If you are looking for more ideas, really you can Google that. Whenever you are at game stores, like where you go buy your children all sorts of games, just have a look if they don't have some nice mathematical concept development games. But really you don't even need a mathematical game to make something mathematical out of it. Alright, so let's look at a few games. The first game, this one, the primary kids school the primary kids loves this game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle with 6 circles around it. And you can really generate this game with 1 dice. I've got 6 dice here. It's just going to make it a little bit faster, but you are more than welcome to use 1 dice for that. And then I'm just going to use a different color pen actually for the middle circle, and one of the outside circles I use a different color pen. Let me see if I can't make it an obvious different color, because I see the black and the blue sort of looks quite a lot alike. Yeah. Okay, so, but you can play around with this. You really just need a piece of paper, a pen, things like that. And how this game works is I throw a dice. There's a 6, there's a 2, there's a 5, there's a 1, and there's 2 3s. Whoops. And then I just throw 1 dice for the middle, and I add a 0 to that. So that's 1, so I just add a 0. Now these 2 is my answer, so I must get 16, and then I must use the 3, the 3, the 1, the 5, and the 2. I can add, subtract, I must use every one of these. I must use all of them, and I can only use them all once to get then 16. And you can generate millions of games like this with puzzles. So for instance, if I say 5 times 2 is 10, and 3 plus 3 is 6. This one is actually fast. So 10 plus 6 gives me 16, times 1 gives me 16. So there it is already. 5 times 2 is 10. There. I've used that one once and that one once. 3 plus 3 is 6. And then if I add these two together, I can just add that. I can just multiply that, for instance, by 1. And then I still have 16, and that's my answer. Some of these will take me... like this one I saw almost immediately. Some of this I will get immediately. Some of them will take me 20 minutes. Some of them will take me half an hour. Depends really from number to number. But you can really keep the children busy like this for quite a while. If you do 1 puzzle like this or two like this for them per day, most of the primary school kids really love this. And that's so easy to do. You just need a dice actually. So that's something you can do. Something else you can do is, this is purely for helping with homework, or you can use it, you can make a game out of it. But mostly for helping with homework or fractions. I know some teachers use Lego blocks to do fractions, and then the whole will be a 1, and the shorter Lego block will be a half, and then a tiny Lego block, and they give fraction values to all of the Lego blocks. I like the, excuse me, I like the Chinese checkers pins for doing fractions, because I can actually, there's 10 of every color, there's 6 colors, and I can actually take out 1/10 exactly. With a Lego, I can't do this. I can't take out the 1/10. And what's nice with this is, if I work with tenths, I can pack 10. If I work with a sixth over 6, I can divide every hole into 6. I can pack little groups of 6 to make holes. And then you can really go and work with equivalent fractions. So I can say, if I have tens, 1/10, this is 1/10. If I divide this into tenths, and I divide this one into fifths, this is the same amount of lollipops or sweeties or whatever I must use to divide into fifths. Then I must actually divide this into 5. So what's going to happen, if I divide it into fifths, is every 2 of these makes a fifth. Can you see? So if I divide this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups, every 2 of them make a fifth. And then I can see, then I can nicely see that if I make this a whole divided into 10, then this is 1/10 and this is 1/5. So I can see 2/10 is the same as 1/5. So you can do this for equivalent fractions, or you can let them add and subtract mixed fractions. If I have, say for instance, I work with quarters, then I make groups of 4, because groups of 4 is a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter is a whole. So there's groups of 4, and say for instance I must add 2 1/4, so I add 1, 2 1/4. With 1 1/4, then I add 1 1/4. I can immediately see this is 3 1/2, because this is a half of a whole, or 3 2/4, and things like that. So you can let them play a little bit with fractions, using either Legos or pins from the Chinese checkers board, or if you don't have a Chinese checkers board, use coins. Stack 20s, old packs of, if you have a jar full of coins, stack 20 cents into, so I can have 5 20 cents, and then I have every 20 cent is a fifth, and every coin is 1/5, and things like that. You can really play around with this. This one, I don't know what this game is called, that you play on a chess board. I think it's Dumbo or something like that. What's nice about these chips for this specific game that I want to do is that they stack onto one another. They fit onto one another. So that's actually quite nice for this specific game. But anything you have that's 2 different colors, or I can separate by 2 different groups, like this. So you can also use coins, use 20 cents and 50 cents, or use 2 different colored chips, or you can, even if you have a chess board, use the black and the white chess pieces or things like that. And then for inside purposes, you can think up your own game, but you can play a game where, for instance, okay, every child, we take turns, and every child gets to shoot to try and get a goal. like that. Okay, so I've got a goal. I actually broke the goal post there. Or you must try and hit one of those blocks. So every child, yes. Okay, so I succeed. You can do all sorts of games. This is maybe too easy. I must just maybe put them a little further away. And every time, so you can think up a game, or you can actually really take them outside with a big ball and let them kick towards a goal. And if they score, they get a plus mark. If they miss, they get a minus mark. So any game where there's like two things that can happen, you succeed or you fail. Something else you can do for the same game is let them roll a dice. So everyone gets a turn. So now it's my turn. Then I must predict whether the dice is going to be a number 1 to 3 or a number 4 to 6. So I predict it's going to be a number 1 to 3. Yes, I'm right. Then I get a plus mark. So these are the one color is the plus marks. The other color is the minus marks. Then it's the next one's turn, things like that. So you can really think up any game where they play, and then they get plus marks for succeeding and minus marks for failing. Try and make it like a 50-50 chance of succeeding and failing. And then if all of the chips are up, so now this is my chips, this is my my French chips who played. Let me just get a few more chips here. So this is my chips now. This is my French chips. And everyone must then write their own. Oh, my friend got so much. Okay, that's my French chips. This is my chips. And then let everyone have a scorecard. You can really just take a piece of paper and they must write down on the scorecard their plus number and their minus number and their total. And this is a great exercise for children to learn to add and subtract positive and negative numbers. And you can really play any game with them. And then if they add, then we stack the numbers and we stack the tokens and we go again for the next round, and they can play a few rounds like this. And every round they must write up their score with the plus numbers and the negative numbers and the total for the round. So what's going to happen? For my case here, I've got more positives than negatives. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positives, and I can think of the negatives as they eat up a positive number. So I've got that one eats up that one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positive numbers. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative numbers. But can you see what happens? This one eats up that 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 one, and I'm left with only 2 marks that wasn't eaten up. Right, what would have happened here with my friend? I'm just going to stash, and then I can play. I can add all of my scores for all of the rounds that we play. What happened here with my friend? What's going to happen on his scorecard? He's got a plus and a minus. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive chips. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 negative chips. And then this one eats up that one. This one eats up that one. This one eats up that one, etc. And then if all of my marks that I have is actually eaten up, what's happening here is I've got 2 eating up hungry marks, negative marks, that still doesn't have something to eat up. So I must just put them, I still owe 2 marks that I must now eat up from the next round. If I get a positive number in the next round, I must still take away 2 marks that I haven't taken away so far. So things like that. You can play with positives and negatives, positive and negatives. With the Jenga blocks, You can let them play around with area, volume, perimeter, things like that, a little bit, or just simple calculations like weigh this one block on a scale, just one block, and you tell them this block weighs, oh, I don't know, 15 grams, and then you let your children race who can calculate the weight of this tower first. If you know that this block weighs 15 grams, for instance. So things like that, or you can, and they must go and work this out, or you can also play with them a little bit about, say for instance, they must work out the perimeter of a rectangle. I know a lot of kids really struggle with the concept. So I've got a rectangle that's 3 meters by 1 meter. Calculate the perimeter and explain to them that's, if this is my fence, that's how many fence blocks I need, how many meters of fence I need. So they can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 meters. If every block is a meter long, I need 8 meters of fence to make a fence all along this rectangle. And then you can explain where the formula also comes from. It's 2 times the length. Can you see the length is 1, 2, 3? So there's 3 and there's 3. That's why it's 2 times the length, and it's 2 times the breadth. There's 1 and there's 1. So it's 2 times this 1. And then that is the perimeter. Now the area will be actually, because there's now 1 meter, say for instance this is this block is 10 centimeter. You can play around a little bit, so how many of them will fit in there, and then if it's, so I make enough blocks to make a 1 meter, and then the area I can work out, that's the area, is how many tiles I need to fill this, things like that. So yeah, you can use Jenga blocks or really anything to also calculate area and perimeter, play around with that. And the last thing I want to quickly, last game I want to quickly look at, I'm just going to make a little bit of space here. Is I had another mother asking me, I actually know her children very well, they're very smart boys, children who really works on their own, hard-working children, good manners, they are really committed learners. And she asked me, her one child is in primary school, they had a question for homework where they must count back from 40, and he can't do it, and she's really worried, why can't he do it? Because it's not really a struggling child, this is like one thing that he really doesn't get, and she tried explaining everything and she doesn't know. And she said he's fine from he's fine with counting backs from 10 and count backwards from 10 and counting backwards from 20, but then from 40 and 30 he struggles. And so here is something you can use with cards, or you can make your own cards. If the ace and things like that confuses the child, really cut up a few cards and make your own one. But if I know the ace is 1, let the child start with where he's fine. So say he's fine with counting from 5 backwards. Where he's fine, start there. I'm fine counting backwards from 5. So then I'm going to count first forward and then backwards. So 1, ace is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just see if you're fine with it. 5. So I'm not going to look at the cards. I'm going to predict and then put them down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm fine with that, yes. Now let's just add a 6. and with anything that your child struggles with, really start with where he knows and build up step by step from there. So then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and from there back 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can let him repeat this. First, let him start. If he struggles at a point, let him read it first. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, until he can do this really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, I'm correct. So I can add 7. And then you add 9, add 10. Now the cards unfortunately only goes to 10, but you're more than welcome to make more cards. Something else you might do is just go then from 0, 0, and add the 0 so you can see that. I go from 0, 1, 2, 3 up until, you can go and write this out, 10, 9, and then I go, can you see what happens? 10, which still has the 0, and then I go 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and up until 1, 9, which is 19, and then 2, 0. So let him see how the numbers are formed like this. Say he struggles from 30 and 40. And specifically the point where he struggles is going from 30 to 29. When he gets to 29, he's fine saying 29, 28, 27, 26. And then he gets to 21, 20, and then he's like, so first go just practice where he gets stuck. So I have 31, 32, 33. I'm just going to practice where I get stuck. 40, 41, 42, etc. You can write them all out if you really need to. So things like that. 60. And then, okay, I'm fine with counting backwards from 20. So at 30, I've got a problem. I don't get really from 30. So then you can see from 30 going back, I'm going to the 20s row, but at the end is 29. So there's rows for everyone, and they're in numerical order. And you know, before 3 comes 2. So it must be before 30 is the 20s row. Before 40 is the 30s row, before 50s is the 40s row, etc. Just get that idea. And then, so from 30, I'm going back to 29. From 40, I'm going back to 39. And let him start there by, so this is the first point he gets stuck. First count forwards and then back, just split this little bit. 29, 30, 31, 30, 29, 30, 31, 32, 31, 30, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 29, 30. Let him count forwards, and you can even look at this until he says, okay, I think I have it. I'm just going to count from 28 to 32 and back. So 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, I've got it. And then move to 30, 40, move to 40, 50, things like that. So there's something you can use a little bit to count forwards and backwards with your kids. And also, once he's got all of this at all of the tens, it might be worth to just check with him. Does he know now what happens at 100 and 200 and 300, and what happens at 1,000, 2,000, things like that. And then for the purposes of this of explaining this game now, I've just taken out all of the jacks, queens and kings from this pack, because I'm really just working on counting forwards and backwards with numbers. But you can also, if you want to develop higher numbers, make your own cards. So I've got a fun little game that I'm going to end this video off that you can also use. And this is a fun game you can really play with kids from ages, I'm guessing 6 or 7 up until 80 years of age. This is a really fun game. We grown-ups also really like playing this game. So how this game works, it's really simple. This is called Speed. You can, I don't think this pack is shuffled very properly. Let me just see if I can shuffle it. I've just taken out for purposes of practicing with your primary school kids. I've taken out the Jack, Queen, and King. So for this game, an ace can be 1 or 11. Right. Now, if you play only 2 people, just stack more decks. If you play, the more people you play, the less you can make this the decks. There's no exact science. But if you have 2 people playing, have at least 5 decks open. It just makes that the game doesn't get stuck too much. If you've got 3 people, you can still play with 5 cards, or you can just play with 4 cards. If you've got 4 or 5 people, you can start moving to 3 cards. And if you've got more than 5 people, you can really only have 2 decks in front of you. So, say for instance, I'm just now playing with 2 people, so I've got 5 decks of cards. The rest of the cards I'm just going to divide into 2 people, and for the purposes of this game, I can really, it's not an exact science. I can also really just try and get 2 equally stacked decks. That's fine. So that's my friend's deck there, who's playing against me, and this is my deck. And how this game works is you must, on every number, you can play 1 higher or 1 lower. So for instance, on a 3, I can play a 2 or a 4. On a 4, I can play a 3 or a 5. On a 10, I can play a 9 or an ace, because there is no higher number really. The ace is 11 or 1. And on an ace, I can play a 10 or a 2. On a 5, I can play a 4 or a 6. I can have 2 cards open that I can evaluate where I can, or I can decide if I can put this. If I've played these cards, I can pick up again, and there's no turns. There's no further rules. The first one to finish his deck wins. So let's play. I can play a 9 on there, I can play a 3 on there, and I really don't wait for my turn. I just stack my cards on as fast as I can, and this really helps them also thinking 1 higher, 1 lower, like that. And if I get stuck, I'm not stuck yet, but if I get stuck and my friend, let's just say the friend is also playing a few cards here now. I'm not even checking if he's doing the right thing. But if I get stuck, I must wait for my friend to... Now I'm stuck because I can't play an ace on... Oh, I can play an ace there. Right. I can play a 4 there. I actually want to get stuck now. Yes, okay, so here I'm stuck. I can't play a 4 on any of these, and I can't play a 6 on any of these. So now I'm stuck. Now I must wait for my friend to put something that I can play on. So if he plays a 3 there, can you see, then I can place a 4, or if he plays a 5, I can place a 5 there. If he plays a 5 there, I can actually also place the 6 there. And then you actually start thinking 2 steps ahead. The longer you are stuck, the more you think ahead. What can they play and where I can. So this develops, and it's really exciting, and it's so fast, and it's so boring that you have to sit and wait for your turn. And if I'm stuck and everybody's stuck and nobody can play, what we do is everybody just takes a card from the top of their deck and place it anywhere. And then we see, aha, if we can continue playing. And the first one, now I must wait for my friend, and I hope that he puts something down that I can play on before his deck is finished. Otherwise, I lose. So now I've got a 4, but I can't play it. There my friend plays something, and I finished, and I win. Alright, so you really just play as fast as you can, 1 higher, 1 lower. This is a fun game for all ages, really, and it really develops the concept of thinking backwards and forwards with numbers. So that's also something you can really try. And if your kid now learns counting backwards from 40 and he gets stuck between 30 and 40, go make cards between 30 and 40. Or if you have a deck of cards that you don't feel too sentimental over, you can just write there on them 31, 40, right write on there or typics the numbers out and replace them with numbers that you want to use. If you don't feel too sentimental or you have an extra deck of cards or something. All right. So um, I really think these are a few things you can use, or I hope really that this at least set your mind into thinking, oh, I can do this, I can do this. This is really just to start you off and get you some ideas and to really try and motivate you and to motivate. And then if I can motivate you, you must go and motivate your child. Right, so I hope this at least gives you a few ideas of fun things you can do. And yes, you are more than welcome to go and play with it. I'm sure there's lots of creative moms who can use these concepts and better them in so many ways. And you will see if you play some of the things with your kids, sometimes they can better it and they can think up their own little games. But just to give you an idea of things you can do to really make maths learning fun or to really just reinforce thinking about maths in a positive way with your child, in enforcing your child to really think about maths in a positive way and really think that maths is fun and really be positive. And what I find most of the time is if on his own the child has a positive feeling towards math, you won't really struggle nagging him to get his homework done. If he thinks he loves this subject, he will go and work on it on his own. So good luck, and I really, really hope you find some value from this video.